with our Bible study for tonight. I hope you're all doing well. We've had a beautiful day. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and it was just a glorious day. And that inspired me to do this Bible study tonight, or at least the subject matter of the Bible study. The title of the Bible study is called No Excuses. We will be studying from the book of Romans, chapter 1, verses 18 through 21. I'll give you a second to turn there in your Bibles. Again, it's the book of Romans, chapter 18. Chapter 1, verse 18 through 21. And it reads like this. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness, since what may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities has eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God, nor gave thanks to him, but their thinking became futile, and their foolish hearts were darkened. No excuses. We are a people who make excuses. Especially as little kids. You know, my favorite when I was a kid, my favorite excuse was always the response of, the devil made me do it. And mom and dad would get a kick out of that, but it never got me off the hook. It always left me hanging. People try to make excuses for their behavior by saying, there is no God. Or, as I was discussing a subject with a gentleman the other day on Facebook, he tried to say that his excuse for behaving badly or for doing whatever he wanted to do was that God is a God of love. And because God is a God of love, God would never send me to hell. Well, he doesn't understand who God is. And people live in these schemes that they call excuses. Scientists, astronomers, astrophysicists spend time, their careers, searching for evidence of the creation of the universe. You see, they don't want to believe that it was God that created the universe. And, they've even found evidence that they call the Big Bang. Now, I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that there isn't remnants in the heavenlies that are from the creation of the world. Who's to say that when God spoke the world into existence, that there wasn't a Big Bang? That there isn't things floating in outer space that prove the existence of God saying, "Let there be light. Let there be earth. Let there be water," and so on. Another memory that I have, aside from my mischievous side and blaming the devil for what went wrong and what I did, and blaming the devil, trying to not take the responsibility of what I did, was the time that I would spend with my dad. And my dad loved, as crazy as it sounds, storms. And we lived in Adelphi. And on the outskirts of Adelphi was a graveyard. And the graveyard sat up on a hill. So Dad would tell me, "Come on, jump in the car, and let's go watch the storm roll in." So we would jump in the car, we would drive out to the cemetery, and we would park on the outer edges of it with this great view that you could see for miles. And we would watch the storm roll in. You would see the clouds billowing and the darkness coming, and off in the distance you would see the lightning strikes, and you would hear the thunder roll, and you could see the haze coming from the heavens to the earth, and that being rain. And Dad would just be mystified at that. And as a kid, I was too, and still am as an adult. Something my dad passed on to me. Never thinking that God was speaking. God uses nature. God uses His creation to cry out His very existence to each and every one of us. Here in Romans chapter 1, verses 18 through 21, God, through the writer Paul, talks about how people are left in His wrath. Well, I want to spell out to you first and foremost what is God's wrath. Everybody attributes the wrath of God to this vengeful, angry, overbearing, hurting, or hurtful God. But let me tell you, God is a God of love, a God of sovereignty, a God of justice. He is absolute in all those qualities, equal in all of those qualities. He's perfect. All the dials are set to the right number. This one goes to 11. Anyway, the wrath of God is basically Him turning His face from us. You see, God can't look at sin. God can't dwell where sin exists. And He turns His face. Jesus on the cross experienced the wrath of God because God couldn't look at Christ because Christ took on the sin of all humanity. God couldn't look at that.